Welcome to Living a Life by Design. It's the journey back to you and living 365 days of purpose with your host, Esther Graham. Did you know your accountability and possibility is by design? God designed a phenomenal life for you, gave you the gift of choice. Esther helps empower you to discover and pursue the purpose that is already in you. Are you ready to look at yourself and see your future? Then get back to what is really important in life and get in alignment with your true self. Stay tuned to Living a Life by Design. Journey back to you and start living 365 days of purpose with your host, Esther Graham. It all starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living a Life by Design with me, your host, Dr. Esther Graham. And I am, once again, my favorite word, super excited, one of my favorite words, about having you here and our very special guest today. You guys, listen, this is 100% Living a Life by Design. And I want to say, fascinated with our guest today because she is coming from a totally different perspective when it comes to leadership. And I say it's different because this is something all of us do all the time, whether we do it in step, out of step, in rhythm, or out of rhythm. But never did I think that this really is powerful when it comes to you as a leader. So everyone, please join me. First of all, grab your pens, your pads, whatever it is that you want to drink, wherever you are in the world. Be ready to take some notes and just get everything that you need out of this interview. So everyone, I want to introduce Carol Fraser. She is the CEO of C4 Talent LLC. So one of the things that Carol says, and I think I'll say that later, I'm going to have Carol reintroduce herself. Carol, reintroduce yourself to us. Tell us what you're doing in the world. I know you're in the UK right now, so you have to share about what you're doing there.
Yep.
And how you're enjoying it.
Oh, I'd be happy to. So my name is Carol Fraser. I am the CEO of C4 Talent. My program is Dancing Leaders, and it is a embodiment program around leadership. And we're a catalytic kind of a program where we help to really identify those internal blockers. And together with a group of neuroscientists, we've mapped behaviors that you find out on the dance floor to how you're likely showing up in a leadership capacity or as a team from a cohesion capacity. And here in the UK this week, I'm actually working with a wonderful nonprofit that is focused on minorities and those types of groups that are not getting the attention they need currently. And I am actually working with them on my group coaching program called the Change Principle. And it's a coaching mindset towards leadership growth and development. And so they'll be doing 8 sessions with me. We're doing a kickoff in person here in the UK, and it's teaching leaders the coaching mindset so that they can actually bring the most out of their teams. So that's what I'm here doing in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah. That is powerful. So everyone, I have to tell you that I met Carol, I guess it was my husband and I did maybe about 3 months ago or during the spring. And I was just so fascinated with dancing leaders that I thought, wow, what does that mean? You said something when you were reintroducing yourself about the neuroscience and connecting it all. Let's just talk about that a bit because I always want to know. I mean, I'm a neuroscience coach, a transformational, I call it neurotransformational coach. And so that's like right up my alley. And I think that's so much a part of the Life by Design principle that I have. So let's talk about what does that mean? What does it look like? And then I have a few more questions for you.
Oh, sure. We have mapped 30 direct correlations between what your blocker could be on the dance floor. And it could be something as a matter of self-deprecation, constantly apologizing for the misstep, if you will, or it
Mm.
could be a hesitation to physically and non-verbally connect with your partner to be able to move them from point A to point B in a move. It could be something as simple as sending somebody the wrong cues in so they not actually do the move or what you intended the move to look like or feel like. And then, of course, on the flip side of it, from a follower perspective, are you trying to lead when you're actually at the moment supposed to be listening to your leader? Are you
Mm.
taking up too much space so you're not creating the collaboration, the team within a partnership so that you can move as one unit? And are you misreading cues based on your assumptions or your limiting beliefs, and you don't actually have an open mindset to be able to move from point A to point B? All of that shows up, and I've been doing swing dancing and teaching it, and I'm a global champion for 27 years. And I have done years and years of partner dancing for adult learners. And what I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
constantly said in my dance classes is dance lesson, life lesson,
yeah.
because there's
I
so many parallels. And then what we do, once we actually focus on the neuroscience, we do talk a little bit about the fact that we get past the amygdala, the flight, fright, fear, freeze kind of moments. Because when you are all of a sudden put into a partner dance, you're like, you actually want me to touch somebody and move them. So we get them past that fear pretty quickly.
yeah,
And we
yeah,
tell them to also get away from their prefrontal cortex, which is overly analytical. And it's not, dance is a art, not a science. And so when people come in and are trying to overanalyze movement, they restrict themselves. Yet another link to the neuroscience. So we work on those two things right at the beginning so we can move them to what I very generically call the middle brain, which is where your collaboration, your communication, your verbal skills, your sensory skills are all in the middle portions of your cortexes. And so we try to get them out of their edges into their middles so that they can create that cohesion. And we do that all throughout a dance class. And then when you do the full day program, we sit them into dialogue, oh my goodness, workshops
yeah, yeah.
where we do a lot of communications around what they experienced on the dance floor and have them really draw the conclusion to how that's showing up in their organizations.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'm going to break this down for myself. So
Okay.
that's a lot. It's so, so good. So I love to dance. Like when I tell you I love to dance, I'm always moving and dancing. But I like to dance, like with a group of people, but by myself. You know how you're with a group of everybody's dancing together on the dance floor?
Yep.
And so I remember, and I still struggle with this sometimes, truth be told. So, all of this is again linked to so much. Um, I don't slow dance very well,
Right.
right? So my husband and I, we'll try to slow dance, but he has to remind me for him to lead.
Ooh, so many things right there.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm ready to lead. And so I remember at one point I said to him, I said, okay, I can't slow dance because, you know, I, I'm leading. And he's like, Esther, are you leading or am I leading? Who's leading here? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's just dance separate. Yeah. And so you say that, I have to think about myself like, oh, so we don't slow dance much together.
There are lots of studies that have been done all around the world, China, Germany, the US. And a lot of people have done studies around solo dancing and
Yeah. Yeah.
linking movement to the portions of the brain that are sparking through that movement, right? Connecting the wellness component of movement to a healthy brain and thereby to a healthy behavioral pattern. The
Mhm.
partner dancing component is a complexity that is important. And I'm the only one that's doing this kind of work right now in the leadership world. And what that does, though, is it mimics more closely what you'll experience in a team environment. Now, that could be a team environment of Your team is clients, your team is coworkers, your team is independent contractors, anything. It also
Mm,
creates a language that is non-barrier because you don't need to speak when you're doing swing dancing. So I've worked with global organizations where obviously maybe English is the common language, but maybe it's broken English or not fully full English. But being able to move somebody through a movement in swing dancing, it creates a connection that maybe gets lost in the words. So it's really that emotional intelligence, that nonverbal component
yeah,
that
yeah,
you're really
yeah,
trying to create a connection with who you are dancing with. But then the best thing about the program is you rotate to the next partner. And now you have to create that connection with the next partner. Then you rotate to the next partner after that. So this is
yeah,
how team
yeah,
cohesion ends up happening. And then we actually make them flip sides. So if you were a leader in the
yeah.
first session, now you're going to be a follower in the second session
Ooh,
so
yeah,
that you can
yeah,
truly see what did that feel like, right? What does it feel like now to be on the other side? And now you're really creating a collaborative moment.
yeah. It's so interesting because, when I think about my team, and well, let me just talk about myself. I think about myself, and sometimes, especially when you're used to being a leader all the time, that sometimes I have to remind myself to this isn't, step back, just let someone else lead. And it's the same thing again in dancing, with my spouse. It's like, okay, I have to like, so, this weekend we have an event to go to, and I'm talking to myself, Carol, and I'm saying, ooh, let me make sure that let me make sure that I'm not out there, doing it. And yeah, so good. So one of the things that you have said that you talk about, and it's true growth. And I'm going to read this to you, and then we'll take a quick break and come back. True growth happens when you step beyond the familiar rhythm and explore new horizons in your workplace, leadership, and team dynamics. And I want us to talk about that a little bit because what caught me was that is true growth happens when you step beyond the familiar rhythm,
Yeah.
stepping beyond. So we'll be right back, everyone, to go even deeper in this powerful conversation. Welcome back, everyone, to Living a Life by Design. Listen, truly, your life is by design, and you get to choose the design that you want and how you create it. So today, once again, our special guest, Carol Fraser, Dancing Leaders. And so the question that we left off with, Carol, was true growth happens when you step beyond the familiar rhythm and explore new horizons in your workplace, your leadership, and team dynamics. Talk to us. What does that mean?
And if you think about growth in general, it's going outside of your normal routines.
Yeah.
It's really pushing your own boundaries, whether it's internal growth, whether it's physical growth, you have to go beyond what feels comfortable. The dancing leaders and getting out of the familiar rhythms, we create a rhythm within our organizations. We create this ebbs and flows and ways of working that become our company norms. And too often, those company norms become actually cement blocks that keep us from innovation or keep us from agility or keep us from growth. And the Dancing Leaders program is used very often in organizations who maybe have acquired other companies and need to create a new environment, or they have
Mm,
exploded startups hiring 50 people in a year, right? And the norms are all over the place. Chaos is the norm. And so, what we try to do with dancing leaders, at least in the half day program, but we definitely are able to do it in the full day program, is help them find their corporate rhythm. And so get out of what was the norms before, get out of your typical roles of leader and employee, i.e., leader and follower. Get out
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
who you normally work with because we are one big group and we're rotating partners and we're shifting roles. And what that allows you to do is elevate your energy, elevate your norms, and really work that middle brain, which is where the innovation happens. So if you're an organization that is feeling stagnant or is probably operating out of fear, you need to create an element of foundational
Yeah.
trust. The dancing
Mhm.
leaders, through touch, through nonverbal communication, through the dialectic workshops, we help you create that foundational trust. Then from there, you're able to start to understand better how people move, literally and figuratively, how they move with one another, how they take in information from one another. And you're able to start to get out of whatever those norms are and push yourself to a new rhythm, a faster rhythm, a more in sync rhythm, something that is going to put your company pushing towards where your new goals are.
Yeah. So help me to visualize what you're saying. So this is really, more than us just getting up and dancing,
Correct.
right? But it is inclusive of that,
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely.
So how does that all work together? So, someone comes to you and they say, Carol, I'm a leader and I need to pull my organization together. I've got other leaders I'm leading. How can you help me? Kind of just do a kind of a visual for me, if you don't mind, if you can.
No, there's a good amount of pre-work to be done, really
Okay.
understanding maybe what the level of engagement is
Okay.
now, what has been your
Great.
growth, where you have
Great.
some blockers that you see as a leader. Now, we all know that there's
Yes.
a very tunnel vision that a leader sees. They don't see all of it. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we get a little bit of pre-work. We incorporate all that pre-work when we get them in person. So the first
Hmm.
thing we do is explain from a neuroscience perspective what's about to happen to their brain. We like to give people a little bit of insights, and it also helps us to move past that fear or that touch component that a lot of people are just maybe potentially, and I do say potentially, uncomfortable with. Because knock on wood, so far, every time that I've had a session, and I've always had at least one person say, I can't do this. It's not, I'm not comfortable with it. They stay in the
Hmm.
room so that they can be a part of the program, but within 10 minutes, they're up. They're like, oh, this is what we're
Good.
doing? I can do this. And I'm
That's
like, I know
good.
you can. Get on in here. But we
Yeah.
have them learn basic swing dance moves, the rhythm of swing dance, the connection of swing dance, what it feels like to lead somebody to an open position. All during this time, we have scribes. So we have at least four people who are walking the room, who have been educated and trained in the neuroscience of the blockers, who are
Okay.
capturing these little things that everybody is saying, everybody is doing, watching the body language. And they're correlating all of that with what we believe is probably not only individual blockers, but group blockers. So we take all that information, we have them rotating from one person to the next. So they're learning a lot about themselves, they're learning a lot about their people that they work with just by moving from one partner to the next. And each time we're expanding what move they're going to try. So we're expanding vocabulary. And as we know, when we learn new things, our brain needs a moment to kind of adjust to that new thing. So then we get to see frustration. We get to see, people who are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I made that mistake." So that self-deprecation, we start to see all of this happen. Then we
Mm.
take that and we turn on the music. Guess what? There's three people in the dance now: the leader, the follow, and the music. So now, how well do you guys move together to an item, the music here, and not be separated, but yet rather moving together. So now you are starting to see how the collaboration works, how the nonverbal movement actually helps to create that cohesion. And we do that for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Then we take a little potty break. We go and we sit down into the workshop. This is not a presentation workshop. We
Yeah.
take all of the stuff that the scribes have brought together and we prioritize the top 3 to 5 items that we believe we saw and heard from all of you as your blockers. And then we start doing a round robin. This isn't a raise your hand where, you get that really happy hand raiser person who wants to do all the talking. We get everybody in the room talking. And we get everybody in the room linking it back to what is your current company norms. So you're able to start to see exactly what everybody's thinking, but not saying at work. Because now they're in a safe space
Mm,
where they can say, yeah, I felt that on the dance floor. That's all you have to say is you just felt it on the dance floor. You don't have to say I felt that in the meeting or I felt that in the
mm,
presentation. Yeah, I felt that on the dance floor. Cool. Okay. So what tell me what that meant to you and we'll just start working in this little group coaching session and get all of that out. Then we take another little break after everybody's like epiphanies. My brain is exploding. We put them
yeah.
back in the dance floor, and that's when we make them switch. And I have seen some amazing breakthroughs happen just from that moment, where the people who were the leaders in the first session are now the followers in the second session. And now you see
Mm,
people mentoring others where maybe you didn't do that before because maybe the leader beforehand was just a secretary or a product manager or an
mm,
analyst, but yet they were a leader in the first session. Now they're a follower in the second session, and they're guiding the new leader with what they did when they were a leader. So now this like inherent mentorship starts to happen. And so we get them moving on their own for about 5 minutes so that they're creating a shared language together and they're creating that cohesion. Then, of course, we get moving again. We rotate partners. We get more moves going. We maybe speed up the music. I still have my scribes going around, and they're still taking in all that data that's coming out of people's mouths and bodies. And then we go back into that workshop and we work through how to build a connection and a team that's going to help you achieve what it is that you're looking to achieve.
oh, so good. So, yeah, I mean, I'm visualizing everything, and that is just so good. I could really see how powerful that could be for any level of leaders, is what it sounds like. It'll work for any level of leaders. So good.
It's a
So,
leveling exercise too, if I may, Dr. Esther. It's
yeah,
it's an
oh, of course.
opportunity to make the analyst a leader. It's an opportunity to make the
Mm,
VP a follower. It's an
mm,
opportunity to really level the playing field. Look, unless you're walking in with some
yeah,
exposure to swing dancing or partner dancing beforehand, which I've definitely had people who, come in from knowing salsa, let's say, or knowing how to do the foxtrot and they're going to excel in their normal typical role of whatever that partner dancer is, but very
yeah,
rarely when I make them flip to the other role they're like, oh well, I don't know anything about this side. So now it's back to being level, zero level. Everybody's back at
yeah.
zero level. So it's a really great way to take everybody down to a common ground.
Yeah, so good. So let me ask you this. You help leaders and from all levels, right? Um, turn chaos and into streamlined operations and vibrant culture.
Yes.
Vibrant corporate culture, it sounds like, but not just corporate, also sounds like life culture, because a lot of what you're speaking of is not just for the business environment, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a CEO, CO, or whatever, you're just a leader in business,
Yeah.
but it's for that person in the home as well. And so you turn chaos into streamlined operations and vibrant culture. How do mindset and heart set play a role in making what we're speaking of here, that shift possible? I love to connect the heart and the mind.
I love that you do that. So the mindset shifts is the increased awareness, the confronting of internal blockers that maybe in another arena, maybe even in talk therapy, you're just not getting there. Putting someone in a position where they are active, physically active, doing something that's going to push them out of their comfort zone
Mhm. Mhm.
quickly starts to show what that internal blocker is. So when you start to figure out what is that internal blocker, and we name it, just like any emotion, feel it, name it, manage it. We name it so that you can manage it. And with that increased self-awareness, now you
Hmm.
can start
Hmm.
to address that situation that you are holding on to. And when you think about the heart space for that, the one thing that I have to say about swing dancing that I have known for 27 years, and I have worked with hundreds of thousands of people who wanted to learn how to dance, everybody walks out smiling. Your heart sings. The music alone, and one of the neuroscientists on my team does the same kind of things that I do, but strictly in music, and he plays saxophone. What happens to the brain when you're listening to things like jazz music and the way that it is organized in 4/4s, and I can get into a whole music theory thing, but when it's organized in a certain way, the brain starts to process faster and it just raises your energy, and therefore it really kind of builds the heart space as well.
Repeat that one more time. What you just said. Yeah, so they could hear it. Say that one more time.
Which part?
That what happened? It raises the energy.
It
The
raises the
last part.
energy. Yep.
Yeah.
So when you're actually in that moment where your self-awareness is up, where you're listening to music, where your brain is starting to spark and it's understanding how music is organized, your whole body, the wellness component, the energy that your body is actually emanating is what is helping you to open up your heart space.
Yeah, yeah. So good. When you said that, that's why I asked you to repeat it. Because again, I'm thinking about, I think about my daughter who music is her. And so after a busy day at work that's been very stressful, that's been all of these different things, the one thing that she will go, she plays several instruments, but she loves right now, she's really into her bass guitar and she'll just go and she will just spend the next couple of hours just playing that and that it just does so much for her. And she always says, Mom, I do it because it's so therapeutic for me.
It is. Music is therapy.
Yeah, yeah. And so what you're saying is like, yeah, it makes so much sense. Everyone, we're about to take a break and we will be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back again for Living a Life by Design with me, your host, Dr. Esther Graham. And my very special guest today is Carol Fraser. And we are talking about dancing leaders. And if you've been with us from the beginning of the show, you already know that this is a juicy, delicious conversation. And we are going to continue. And don't forget, get your notepad, get everything out, especially because by the end of this show, she's going to give you just one small tip, maybe even two, to where you can begin to, let's say, move out of your comfort zone into, I want to say, just the rhythm of life, the rhythm of leadership. How about that? Now, give it my own words, right? So here, Dr. Carol, you talk about radical thinking and untamed creativity, right? How can leaders embrace bold ideas while staying aligned with their deeper purpose? You've kind of, sprinkling in everything we've talked about, but let's just go just a little deeper with that.
So bold ideas and deeper purpose. Those are two things that for many people could be conflicting, right? So if your
Hmm.
purpose is values driven, beliefs driven, mission driven, bold doesn't always necessarily go with that because you don't want to risk the mission, if you will. But today, think about the generations that we're trying to bring into whatever your purpose or your mission is. We're no longer dealing with one way of having been growing up, right? One culture that we've all been indoctrinated into. We're so multifaceted. Finding a common theme helps you to both maintain your purpose while taking some risks. The bold moves is, as we said at the top of the hour, was about going outside of your comfort zone. It's what we
Hmm.
need to do if we're going to grow in any way, shape, or form. Bold moves to me means you do something greater than just an incremental change. And things like dancing leaders or any kind of real maybe risky or different or adventurous offsite or whatever forces a bigger move, something that is going to address something deeper in you as an individual that allows you to jump off the cliff, if you will, in that bold move. The staying close to the purpose, I believe, is staying aligned with your team who is there to support you in that mission and purpose. So, if I think about how I would incorporate those two components within a dancing leader session, it's about moving at a rate and pace and the complexity of the moves that force people after maybe 10 minutes, if I and my scribes seeing they've got this, we're not going to make them feel comfortable for too long. We're immediately going to push them to
Mm-hmm.
harder moves, faster music, faster rotation. So you have to change how you lead or how you follow because now you're dancing with different people. We're going to push them into those bold moves faster. We're not going to let you get complacent. And because at the same time, we're helping to create that team cohesion, that foundational way of connecting with the people on the team, you're able to create that moment where the purpose and the mission now become you as a group. Because look, I'm happy to at some point, and I've seen it in at least two sessions, become the common enemy. Damn it, that dance teacher is making us move too fast. The dance teacher put on a really hard
I was
song.
going to ask you, does it get frustrating? Does it get, like as you're moving it, now you're really pushing.
Yep.
Does someone ever say, no, this is too frustrating for me. This is just way too hard.
I will say that yes, we have definitely heard that. But here's the
Yeah.
best thing about the scribes. They're all dance teachers too. So if, as they're walking through, they see a blocker that is so intense that it's going to shut people down, they'll actually stop and focus one on one. And I think about that in just in general of management
Yeah.
and leadership and training and coaching. Many times we learn as groups so that we have the same vernacular, we understand the same expectations. But we also know one-on-one coaching helps move certain types of people faster or keep up with whatever it is that the organization is doing. So it's no different. We
Mm.
just happen to do it in such a confined environment and in a catalytic way that it doesn't have to be spread out over months or a year. We start it by
Mhm.
saying, look, guys, we want to push you where you don't think you can go. And then we're going to figure out really what is it that we're capable of doing as a group or as leaders.
Mm.
And then we can start to go, that's a one-on-one moment. That's a
Mm.
mentorship
Yeah,
program.
yeah. So
That's a
you don't go back and say, well, let's keep you in this slower group until you're ready. You don't do that. You keep pushing.
we do. And here's what we say. If you're not comfortable doing this new move, stay with the two moves you already know. You make the
Okay.
choice. It's about accountability. It's about empowerment. If
Yeah,
that new
yeah.
move is not within your wheelhouse, don't do that new move. Stay within. The great thing is as you keep rotating, you're trying those two moves with all these different kinds of people. So you're learning how to accept what you know and perfect it, if you will. And at some point during the rotation, you're going to find that follower or leader who goes, with you, I feel more comfortable taking the risk. And they're going to try that new move. Most times people shut down trying a new move because of the connection that they're having with that individual partner.
Mm.
That could be a fun, and too often we take blame. We're all people pleasers. We all take on the responsibility. So it was me
Yeah,
who couldn't get
yeah.
the move. When in actuality, maybe it's your partner that couldn't get the move. Why don't you rotate to the next
Yeah.
partner? Maybe you can get the move.
Yeah, that's so good. So good. Brings to the next question. It's so resilience alliances are at the heart of growth, being resilient. So from your experience, what does it take to build partnerships that are not just strategic, but also heart driven and legacy minded? Now, because you've talked about, if that doesn't work, this isn't, then you just switch partners. You just switch partners. So, but I want to just talk about that just a little bit more, because sometimes, and especially as a leader, it's hard to switch partners sometimes.
Mhm.
When sometimes you're determined this is going to work. I know they got it in them. I see it.
Growth has to be one's own personal journey. You can't force
Yes,
growth. You
yes,
can't force growth onto someone else.
yes.
You
That's
can
right.
only
That's right.
enable the journey.
I
So,
love that. You can only enable the journey. Yes,
yes. So
yes.
you want to think about the resiliency that this program helps to bring to light. One, change management is one of the hardest things an organization faces. I
Mhm.
always say when I'm doing change management courses, it's likening it to the stages of grief because change equals loss. What you thought was the norm, let's go back to our first portion of the conversation. What you thought was the norm is now changing. Does that mean that what I was doing was wrong or it wasn't good enough? Your
Mhm. Yes,
brain starts
yes.
making up this story. So change
Mhm.
management equals loss. So what are the stages of grief or what components of the stages of grief do you have to go through? The bargaining, the depression, whatever that is, right? So when I think about that, because the changing that's happening through partner changing, through movement changing, through communication changing, through awareness changing, you're training your body in resilience as well as your mind. And the two connections between the mind and the body is what really builds resilience. Because even when your body is
Mhm.
exhausted, if your mind's like, we're going to continue to go, you'll push your body. But if your
Mhm.
mind is tired, your body will say, come on, I've got all this energy. I want to do something. I'll go pivot and go for a walk, right? Whatever that is. They're so interconnected. And so when I think about resiliency with dancing leaders and with leadership, it's about focusing on how to make change easier, how to understand change easier, how to not value change
Mhm.
with so much weight, and rather look at it as the journey. It's just part of the journey. We're not stagnant people. We are constantly moving. And this is just no, through the neuroscience, we
Mhm. Mhm.
realize the more you move your body, the more your brain becomes adept at that resilience and that change management.
Yeah, so good, because at the end of the day, honestly, change is inevitable. Change is going to happen. Change happens every day. But it is so hard for us, that many times when change happens, we do look at what did I do wrong? What
Right.
mistakes did I make? And you're absolutely right. And sometimes it's not you at all. It's that person, with with whatever they're doing, and being able to say, you know what, this is a part of my journey, and I'm going to make that change. And it may be slowly, it may be a small change, but I'm going to start making that change. So it's good, and how that really ties back to really everything that you're speaking about when it comes to dance and leaders, just how that all just ties back.
Yeah.
Who would somebody say, who would have thunk?
What
Thunk. Who would
fun.
have thunk?
Yeah,
Who would have
it's
thunk?
it is definitely different and it is really just a one of a kind and people really are just
Yeah.
embracing it and really seeing the change from it.
Yeah. I could really see people embracing it, because it is different.
Right.
And I think we're in an age to where we've gotten everything about leadership and this and that, and it's all good. It is. But to be able now to connect it to just something different, for me, it's like, oh, let me try that. That's different. Because then, I see it differently. I could feel it differently. I understand it differently. My whole perspective about, so for me now it's like I said, I love to dance. Now I'm having a whole different perspective. Oh wow, this is really good. And I could use dancing with this, and I could make some determination just based on moves and what I'm doing. And this is phenomenal, you
Thank you.
know? And right now you may be the only person that's doing it, but I'm sure when people start to connect and listen to you, like, you know what? I'm just really interested in that because this is powerful. We will be right back, everyone. Welcome back again, everyone, to Living a Life by Design. We're going to continue our conversation with Carol Fraser. So, Carol, we have had, honestly, it's just been a great conversation, and I'm learning, so much when you're thinking about dancing leaders and just moving your body. Something that, like I said, I love to dance, so to be able to think, oh wow, so when I do this, or when I don't want to be touched, or I don't want to slow dance, what does this mean? This is just great. This is just great. In our last episode, we talked about, or our last segment, we talked about how change is inevitable. you know uh Change is just going to happen, and how can we just be resilient in that? And I kind of just want to um talk a little bit about that change. Well, let me just get to my question, right? So you often speak, or you did speak, about shaking up the status quo, in my words, right? It takes courage. So it's going to take, especially for that person who says, I really don't dance. You've had it. A lot of people say, I really don't dance. I don't have rhythm. I don't dance. I just stand there. So shaking up the status quo, right? What advice would you give leaders who know they're called to create change, right? But feel held back or fear of limitations? Does dancing leaders help them do that?
Absolutely. So what
Yeah.
dancing leader is going to do, if you're a leader who is concerned of whether or not you have the courage to lead boldly, it's
Yeah.
going to put you in situations, repetitively put you in situations you're being asked to lead boldly in an arena where you're probably pretty unfamiliar. So it's going to give you a platform to try and do things that are out of your comfort zone, that are going to be dynamic impacts on the people that you are touching physically and figuratively. And it's going to give you the courage to try other things. Because when you leave dancing leaders, you're going to recognize how you showed up when you first got there, the awareness and the blockers that you are now getting from the program, the
Mhm.
skills and the confidence that you can actually bring to your own being, your leadership, your followership, your teamship, whatever that is, whatever the ship is that you're sailing, you're going to know that. And the thing that you have to do, again, we just enable the journey, you have to commit to it. You have to commit
Mhm.
to consistently trying the bold moves. Look, you're not going to kill anybody on the dance floor, but you're going to be put into a situation that you have to do it and you have to try it. And that's the bold move. It's not something that is jumping off of a ledge or zip lining across trees, right? You've
Yeah.
got your feet on the ground and you're surrounded by a bunch of other people who are in the same boat as you. So you have some camaraderie, but all of you are being asked to do things that are outside of the norms. And so those in and of itself are bold moves. And because we take the time to stop, reflect, discuss, we're embedding the knowledge into your body and your brain. If anybody knows, we don't make decisions from here. We make decisions from here. We make
Mhm.
decisions from
Mhm.
our gut,
Yeah.
from our heart.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
validate or block those decisions through
Yeah.
data, through past experiences, through assumptions, for limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
All that's
Yeah.
here. But if you know in your gut that you need to do something, you're going to do it. This is going to tell you to stop or go, but listen to your gut.
Yeah.
By creating an environment where the body and the brain are working in unison, you're raising your intuitiveness so that making bold moves aren't as scary in the future.
So good. Carol, what is something that you would tell our audience that's listening? What would they be able to do right now, just to make that shift? What can you share with them?
Take a moment to move your body, but not in a familiar way. So we probably
Mm,
have seen like Dancing with the Stars or So You Think You Can Dance or all those kinds of things. And most of us are in awe of what is happening on that television screen.
yeah, yeah,
If you were to just take something like that and try to mimic what that person looked like, remember, you're not doing it in front of an audience like they are. Just doing it in your office or your home or your living room or your kitchen. Do a little bit of movement. When you're done doing movement that's not normal to you, when you're done doing that, look yourself in the mirror and start to understand what is it that you're thinking? Why are you feeling stupid? Or why are you feeling uncertain? Or why are you feeling confident? Or why are you feeling creative? It's the why. Once you get your body doing something that your brain is telling you don't do, you're
yeah,
then telling your body to listen, to go up to the brain and go, "Yo, brain, I'm feeling creative now. Why is that?" And you need to start digging deeper because that's how you get that connection going. And of course, I would always tell everybody take at least one dance class a year, a partner dance class, salsa, swing dancing, foxtrot, whatever you want to do, just one a year so that you better understand the physical connection of moving together. And right there, you don't have to take dance classes for the rest of your life, just once a year to just remind your brain and your body how to connect and then how to
yeah,
connect with
yeah.
another human being.
So I'm smiling because I've been working on this dance, kind of, sort
Okay.
of. So
Kind of.
it's a line dance, and I need to take line dance classes because they've got all the different ones. So there's just the new dance. I don't know if you saw it. It's called Boots on the Ground. What is it? Boots on, and with the fans, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been trying how to get for the past few months. And at the beginning, I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do it. And so then I started saying, okay, I'm going to try. So even at my retreat in May, I was trying, and everybody's trying to show me how to put my foot. And here's the hardest part, getting the fans, and doing the. So when you're thinking about that, practice it at home. It's like, yeah, I need to practice that more at home because I want to be able to get out there and do it. So a couple of weeks ago, someone again said, here, you got to get the right fan, and then when, get the right fan first of all, and then when you're doing it, and they're trying to show me how to coordinate doing my leg, and my fan, but it really together so it could say pop, pop, pop.
Yep.
Anyway, that's exactly what you're speaking of, practicing it at home and then figuring out why is this so hard.
Why is that so
Why
hard?
am
What
I
is the
why
blocker
am I
here?
struck? What is the block here? Why am I? I'm very a coordinated person, but why can't I get my hands with the fan and my feet doing at the same time? So
Could
good.
be unrealistic expectations. It could be
There
the
might be.
many times what I will find out is you said the reason why it's hard. You started this whole endeavor with a negative mindset, with a mindset
I
of I
sure
can't do
did.
that.
100%.
So
100%. I looked at
your
everybody and I
brain
said, "Oh, I
remembers that.
can't do that."
Your brain is remembering that. Your
100%. I
brain is
said.
going, I'm going to prove you right that you can't do it because I'm going to make it harder for you to connect those moves.
And that is so 100% true. Here's the thing. I didn't even think about that. I think about that in everything else. But I didn't even think about that when it comes to dancing. Because to me, dance is like fun and it's so yeah, but I did. I looked, I said, "Oh, I can't do that." And so every time I get up, I'm just so uncoordinated with it. It's hilarious. And so now I'm gonna really say, okay, I can do this. I just got to get this together.
Remember, it's not a science, it's an art.
It's
So
art.
your
It's art.
interpretation of that line dance is 100% correct.
Amen. Amen. That means I'm going to be doing it really well.
That's
Seriously, because
right.
I do want to learn that particular one. How can my audience connect with you, Carol?
You can find my website as www.dancingleaders.com. You can schedule some time to talk to me about this. I also, through that website, you'll see that there's an opportunity if you want to look into my coaching programs. I'm on LinkedIn. So it's Carol Fraser, and you'll see the pink hair, so you'll know it's me. So I'm happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. But by all means, connect. I'd love to bring these programs to organizations. I'd love to help even small groups of leaders, even 3 or 4 people teams, create the foundation for the growth that they want in their organizations.
Great, 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 great. Well, I am so happy to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule in the UK. And I can't wait to connect with you more. Everyone, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Connect with me on Facebook in the Life by Design community, on LinkedIn as well. And thank you so much for joining us today. You have a wonderful, wonderful week. God bless.
You have been listening to Living a Life by Design, the journey back to you, and living 365 days of purpose with host Esther Graham. Listen or watch live every second and fourth Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. Discover that what is possible is already in you. God designed a phenomenal life for you. Esther helps you ignite that energy behind your personal journey for a deeper joy and peace, living 365 days of purpose. For more information on living a life by design, visit fddwomen.com.